what's up, y'all? I'm the horror dude, and God, I'm not sure to be excited or horrified right now. Why is this a thing? Today, I will be reviewing Fox's new made-for-TV remake of the cult classic Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, I'm not going into this with too high of expectations, but I did come prepared for this review. I did buy an extremely limited edition Fox's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's do the time warp again. Trash can. You know, just in case it's trash. I just don't think you could replicate the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's way too iconic. It's like asking lightning to strike in the exact same spot twice. So I'm going to try and review this movie as its own thing and try and just give you guys an insight on if you guys should check out the remake or if you should just leave it alone. And besides, I want to see what part of the cast ends up in the trash can. So let's watch Fox's remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's do the time warp again. Fuck, I have to pick all this up too. Huh. So I'm not exactly sure how I want to talk about this review. At first I wanted to just be like, okay, right at the start of the video, or right when I came back, I wanted to be like, okay, you guys should watch this remake, it's actually very good. Or I wanted to come on and just say, stay as far away from this remake as possible. It is no good, it is terrible. But the thing is, it's, you know, I'll just say, it really isn't that very good, especially if you're a fan of the original Rocky Horror Picture Show like I am. And now, let's get to the performances of the actors. Fuck, this is like half the shit of why I have a problem with this movie. A lot of people are gonna see the character Riff Raff probably not as good as the original because he's such an iconic character, but I think me personally, I actually really enjoyed the new Riff Raff. He actually felt more like an Igor type character rather than in the original. They did leave off one scene though, which I was completely peeved at because I thought that scene was so badass. When Riff Raff is pouring the champagne in the glass when they're about to go up in the elevator, and he just chucks the bottle down and keeps the glass. I thought that was a really cool scene in the movie, but it wasn't in the remake, which was kind of sad. But yeah, you know, I think the guy that played Riff Raff actually did a really good job. He made it his own. The character that did Riff Raff actually did a pretty good job. You know, I liked him. Oh my god, I'm gonna talk about the worst acting in the entire remake, and that was Christina Milian playing Magenta. She was so bad. So bad. Cringeworthy bad. At some point, she had this Transylvanian accent, and then other moments, they were just completely gone. She was just a complete background character when she was speaking, and I didn't like her look either. I didn't like anything, and oh my god, it was bad. She was probably the worst character in the Rocky Horror Picture Show remake, for sure, and definitely deserves the trash. Yeah! Now next, I'm gonna talk about Brad and Janet as a whole. I want to say, I think her name's like Victoria Justice. She definitely doesn't live up to Susan Sarandon at all. Susan Sarandon is definitely not as good a singer as Victoria Justice, but is definitely more charismatic and feels more like a clean-cut woman who turns dirty in the second act. She tried way too hard to copy Susan Sarandon. She was pretty bad too. Yeah, so, sorry, Janet. Woo! Yeah! And then Brad. Brad Majors. I thought it was a little weird casting a younger guy to play Brad Majors. They should have casted a guy who just hit the stereotype of the conservative American male, and unfortunately, it was just a really bad casting choice. So, Brad Majors, taking you, throwing you in the trash. Now I'll talk about one of my favorite characters actually from the remake that a lot of people might look and completely disagree with me on, but I think Columbia, the girl who played Columbia, did an awesome job. Like, she made the character her own. I felt with Columbia, played around a lot more with her, and I thought was really genuine and original. The original Columbia was like really looked the part of a super hardcore punker chick. Where in this one, it was like more of a hipster punk kind of look. I liked her design choices, and you know, I really liked her as an actress, but the thing was, she was different. And also, I just felt the girl who played Columbia really took her own risks, but as long as she made it her own thing, I could totally respect her for it, and it was probably, every time she was on scene, she was the funnest character on the set at the time. So Columbia, I definitely really enjoyed her character. Now, Adam Levine's character, he didn't get a lot of screen time, to be honest with you, just like in the movie, but there was something about when Meatloaf showed up and just like his presence about him, he like literally feels like a rock star. It's kind of like a comedic entrance effect where Adam Levine's, he tried to replicate it a little bit, but it didn't really work. But I did like him when he was in the coffin, when he was dead. I thought that was hilarious. But I'm gonna save him for the trash can because that's not really his fault. That's just, you know, how the movie kind of plays out. And plus, he did look pretty cool in the coffin, so I'll leave him down for that. Now, as for Dr. Everett Scott, I really have no idea where to place this guy. He was goofy, he was funny, it was something different from the original. You know, it's a black guy in the wheelchair, and he's, you know, Eddie's uncle. I thought it was like perfect for the character. It was being like wild, crazy, and its own thing, which I am really respecting originality on a lot of these characters, and Dr. Everett Scott was definitely original. Oh god, I want to talk about Tim Curry for a minute. It's so good to see this man finally come back on screen and be in something again. After, if you guys don't already know, Tim Curry had a really bad heart attack a couple years ago, and he's in a wheelchair, and he doesn't look the same. You can definitely tell in the musical, he looks weak. But the thing is, even though you can tell he's very limited in his movements and very limited in his ability, he still oozes that charisma. There's something about Tim Curry, like, God bless that man. God bless Tim Curry, man. You know, it's just so good to see him in something again. You guys know, he played the narrator, and I thought it was cool in the Time Warp song. He has this little, lady who is kind of like his assistant or whatever. She's turning the pages for him, and she's got this really weird goofy look where she's kind of like almost like a zombie and stuff. And when they do the Time Warp song where it's like in the original movie, the narrator gets on the table, starts dancing, Tim Curry's almost like coaching the lady or whoever his assistant on how to do it, and she looks goofy as hell, and I loved that scene. I thought that was like the best scene. But it was also such a godsend to see him back on screen, and it was just definitely one of the highest moments of the remake, and which is another reason why I'm so hard to just say don't even check this out, because it's really awesome to see Tim Curry up there on screen again and acting for us. It definitely sent chills down my spine. Tim Curry did an amazing job. And another character which I thought was like really surprising, who I liked, was Rocky, which I thought the guy who played Rocky was awesome. Like, I thought he was cool. He made the character his own thing. It was definitely actually one thing about the remake I enjoyed a lot more than the original. The guy who played Rocky did like an awesome job. I thought he was like way cool, and he made it his own thing, which was awesome. Now, I know everyone wants to know, how was Laverne Cox as Frank-N-Furter? Really bad. Really bad. I feel like, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this. I feel like the only reason they cast Laverne Cox was because she's the big name transvestite actress in the industry right now. She really tried really hard, I felt, to just duplicate and copy what Tim Curry did, and Laverne Cox as Frank-N-Furter was just really bad. Like, a lot of her scenes just felt like phoned in, running through the motions. That's how literally it feels watching Laverne Cox on screen. She tries too hard to kind of be flamboyant and over the top, where Tim Curry just made it seem flawless and seamless. But I will say, the one thing about Laverne Cox that I will give her credit for, the little sex scenes with Brad and Victoria Justice's character were really funny and like more sexualized for today's audience, and I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, so definitely Laverne Cox was one of the worst parts of the movie, and it's supposed to be one of the best parts of the original. and she didn't try making it her own thing. She tried way too hard to copy Tim Curry, and that's why this chick deserves the trash twice. But yeah, this is like one of the things. Do I recommend seeing the new Rocky Horror Picture Show? Go into it knowing that Dr. Frank-N-Furter can never be duplicated. Go into it knowing that the director of the remake is the same director for High School Musical. Even at the time, I was like, wow, this looks really like High School Musical, like Disney-ish. Then I looked it up and like, oh shit, it's the same director. Like, of course. Do I recommend it? You can watch the original and be completely fine with that and stay far away from the remake, because the remake is almost a shot-for-shot take of the original. But if you're a hardcore Rocky Horror Picture Show fan, I would say probably stay far away from this remake. But it's just not worth probably watching and getting your heart broken. There's just nothing really different about the movie. That's why I said it's so hard, because it was really cool to see Tim Curry again. That one moment when he comes on was just definitely a big moment. But my hopes and prayers are for him and his family, and I hope he feels so much better, because it's because of him that this movie definitely probably got remade, and why it's so popular to this day, making so many people happy throughout the decades. And Frank-N-Furter was definitely probably one of his most memorable roles, and will probably never be duplicated, proving this remake. His performance as Dr. Frank-N-Furter will never be duplicated by anyone, ever. Alright guys, there's my review on the remake of Fox's Rocky Horror Picture Show. I just want to thank you guys for watching, but right now, I gotta go out into the world and make more fake clown videos. So I'll catch you next time. Peace, Horror Nation.